Hey, my friends, what's up? I was motivated to do this stream today because I was watching this video. Who was it? Godless Cranium's channel. Um, Godless Cranium was talking with Rachel. Hold on, I always forget to mute that. I would start up the the live stream and then forget to mute, and then I end up hearing myself talk. But anyway, I got that fixed. But I was motivated to start this stream because I was watching one of a video on Godless Cranium's channel anyway, and he had Rachel Oates on there, which is an up and coming female atheist. Um, he has some other atheists on there too, but I can't remember his name. But um, they were just talking about a number of different topics, and I think it was mainly centered around Rachel being there, talking about um, her interest and things like that. And they got to a point in this conversation to where um, she brought up a point about religion, and you know, and when many atheists bring up religion, they'll tend to say things like, "Oh, religion was made up. People just use it for comfort. They use it to control people. Things like this." That was the claim that was made up, and not made up, but that was a claim that was brought up by Rachel, and they touched on that for a little bit, but um, needless to say, it's something that I think is laughable, but at the same time, it's quite annoying because um, for a number of different reasons, I don't see um, the real there is no real legitimate point that they can make by even bringing that up at all. And first of all, um, the idea that religion was made up is not something that they can prove anyway. Um, let's say you have a line segment. Um, you take this where we're at now, and then you draw it to the beginning point in history, or as far as back as we can tell, that you have the beginning of human history. So if you take this line segment right here, you have religion, 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 religion. As you're getting close to the beginning point, you have the beginning of religion, and then before that, no religion, no religion, no religion, no religion, and then you're at the beginning, at the most known point. So they would literally have to suggest that at some point, someone just spontaneously, well, maybe not necessarily spontaneously, but somehow, some way, somebody came up with some idea about religion. And before that, there was no religion. How in the world would they even be able to prove that? Short of being able to go back in time or something. I mean, um, do they have any solid historical documents to even back this up? Like, how would they even be able to prove something like that at all? Um, if you go back far enough in antiquity, is there some historical information showing that, oh, you were over here at X part of the world, or whatever part of the world you want to talk about? You can take, I guess, you could take any place, or I mean, it had to start somewhere. It had to start at least one place, and then evolve world. So you go back far enough in antiquity and said, this was the beginning point, but beforehand, there was no religion whatsoever at all. How in the world would they even be able to prove that? How could they? They have no way of proving that. It's just their own assumptions, really. So when they say, "Oh, religion just made up," they can't even begin to prove it. I mean, that's the first thing. And other things they say is like, "Oh, it's used for comfort, or um, it's used to control people." I'm like, well, number one, whether It's used to control people or to give people comfort um, from even their own worldview. Because as a Christian presuppositionalist, I take the view that you start with God and then you go from there. You don't, start with your own. You don't go off your own understanding and then work from an evidentialist standpoint. But even if we take the evidentialist standpoint, they would suggest or say that we start with certain accepted facts or whatever. Even from their own worldview, they still have it up because even from their own evidentialist worldview, whether people use religion to control people or it's used for comfort, that has no bearing on whether it's true. I mean, whether religion is used to give people comfort or control people has no bearing on its truth or falsity, none whatsoever. So the fact that they even say that it's just no bearing on the religion or the beliefs themselves. So even from their own worldview, they can't stack up a rational argument. It's really a red herring when you get finished. Um, Another thing is they seem to just have this bias against religion as if there's no possible way to use atheism to control people, as if there's no way people will find comfort in the fact that they don't have to be ultimately accountable to some higher entity, some higher deity or whatever. It's not like um, they don't find comfort in the fact that if they have certain things they like to do in their lives, if they lifestyles that they prefer, that if there is no higher deity or higher being um, to check them in their lifestyles to say that they can't do this or they have to do this or whatever, that there's no possible way they can find any kind of comfort or escape in that. It's just absurd. The fact that people can find comfort and the fact that something can be used a certain way, even from their own worldview, is no basis against the truth or falsity of that belief or view whatsoever. So what they need to do is, from the standpoint of their own worldview, is just focus on the evidence. If they were consistent in their own worldview and they weren't, going into these red herrings or anything like that, what they would do is they would focus on the evidence alone. So people use religion to do really bad things. Well, that again, like that's a totally different conversation. People can use atheism to do bad things. People can use religion to do bad things. People can take comfort in atheism. People can take comfort in theism. Well, so what's your point? I think these claims are just so desperate. They just don't have any sort of they're not any sort of a damning objection at all to theism. They're not any sort of just slam, just it just rips, the foundation of every theist argument you can think of. It's not a slam dunk in that sense at all. It's like I said, it's laughable, but it's annoying at the same time because they continue to use. I don't know why they even continue to use this. Um, it's just like uh, they, I was watching um, Inspiring Philosophy. He was recently on. Well, I think he's been on the Non Sequitur show a couple of times, but in one of the streams I was watching him in, he was just constantly saying, "Let's just talk about the evidence," and he's right. Just talk about the evidence. No one will look at people's motivations or anything like that because that's what it really gets into. It's like when you talk about control and comfort and stuff, um, I mean, if we want to have some sort of other possible moral discussion about comfort and controlling people and things like that or whatever, then that's fine. But that's no, that's nothing relevant to whether it's true or false. It doesn't. Again, I don't know. I have to say that over and over again. I can't stress this enough. So I think it's just laughable. I mean, we can just imagine, like let's just take this back to the beginning point. Um, some person or some people got together and say, "Hey, yo, let's let's make up this religion, right? Um, we're going to like make up all these rules, and we're going to make up a holy text, yo. We're going to be doing this for thousands and thousands of years. We're going to train people to do this even after we're dead, yo. Um, we're going to even throw in some powerful beings in between, an ultimate all powerful being, man. It's going to be great, yo. Man, this is so out of the box, man. Nobody ever thought of this, man. We're going to take over the world by doing this, man. We're going to control people. And it, this is, I was on board. Who's with me? Oh, man. It's really ridiculous. Um, I don't really know what else to say, but um, I agree with inspiring philosophy when he says just talk about the evidence. I mean, if they're going to operate from that worldview anyway, then just talk about the evidence. But as a Christian who holds to presuppositional, I say the only way you can make sense of the evidence is if you have God. Without God, you can't even make sense of your existence. But yeah, that's all I really want to talk about. I don't want to drag this video out too long or anything like that. But um, these really are desperate claims. That's just all they are when you get finished. They don't have any way to prove this whatsoever. Like when you hear them talk about these things, what do they ever show any evidence of this? Like, do they, like I said earlier? I mean, do they like get historical documents, or can they point to any primary sources or any traditions or anything like this? Um, Again, even from their own worldview, from their own evidentialist worldview, how do they know that people just weren't inherently had these things ingrained into them by evolution? How do they know that just wasn't something in their evolutionary makeup? How do they know that? Because if you want to say that religion was something that was just made up, then you can say that atheism was something that was made up too. And despite what they want to say, they'll try to say that atheism is a lack of belief. No, it's not. But that's another topic though. But um, whether atheism is a lack of belief in that, they can at the very least they can accept the fact that um, if they take a non-theist position, then that at the very least means that they think the world is possible to be explained without any sort of higher power or deity or entity like that whatsoever. That the world can be explained in terms of a non-theist worldview. So um, the point is stick to the facts, stick to what the evidence is. Don't waste your time on trying to just shift the conversation elsewhere to looking at people's motives and to um, trying to suggest what people are doing with religion rather than whether it's true or not. Now, if it was made up, if religion in general was made. I think you can have a good case that certain religions and certain beliefs were made up. Like in Christianity, when you have people who talk about things like Mormonism and things like that, a very, very strong case can be made that Mormonism was made up. But it's another thing when you say that religion in general was made up. How can you possibly prove that? That's just not a claim that you can substantiate. So, a claim that's very impossible to substantiate. You shouldn't be going around making it to begin with. I can respect that they would say, you know what, it seems to me like religion was made up. I can't really prove that, but that's the impression that I get. And you know what, I would respect that. But when I'm observing atheists talk about these things, we're talking about this whole idea of religion, I don't get the impression from them that they're sort of having an agnostic type belief on it, right? I get the impression that they're more like 99% confident, if not 100% confident, that the whole idea of religion is just false. And that sort of confidence right there requires a burden of proof. So I don't get the impression when they're even having these conversations and like, they were just talking amongst each other. And the Godless Cranium stream I was watching, they were just talking to each other, and they seem to talk in terms of, yeah, and I'm really certain about the fact that religion is just something that's just made up at some point, or it just gave people comfort. Of course, I could be wrong about what my impressions is of theirs, but it doesn't seem to me like it's just it's sort of an agnostic statement, an agnostic type statement that they make. It seems to be a statement that they make with a higher level of confidence than just an agnostic approach. It goes to a more it's a higher level of approach. I would say it's more than likely 90+%, if not 100% entirely. And of course, like I said, they will need to be able to submit their burden of proof. They will need to be able to back that up, which I don't see any way they would be able to back that up at all. Because again, you got to take it back. You got to trace it back and look at, what does history say? What does history suggest? Does history suggest that at one point people weren't religious at all and then became religious later because someone made something up somewhere along the line? I think that if they had really, really had their work cut out for them if they're going to make that conclusion. But that's all I have to say about this. I'm droning at this point, but those are my thoughts about the whole thing. And if you atheists want to go ahead and bring your thumbs down, you're gonna do what you want to do, I guess. But that's not a substitute for any arguments whatsoever. It's just if that gives you comfort right there, that's what gives you comfort, is your thumbs down. So if you want to talk about, people doing things to give themselves comfort, I say atheists coming on YouTube and thumbs down in videos like this, that gives them an escape, that gives them comfort. So if you want to look at the motivations of people, I say atheists do a whole lot of things to give themselves a lot of comfort, like making claims they can't back up, like religion was just made up, or thumbs down in videos like this. But that's all I got to say for this video. So be respectful, whatever your position is, whether you liked it, whether you didn't, just be respectful in the comments. And for those who did like it, please like this video, share this video, and subscribe. Till next time, my friends, take care. God bless. Peace.